Good morning, class. Students, we continue our chapter New King and Kingdom. Today we read about the rise of new empire, the Cholas Empire. So, students, let's start. The Cholas were the feudatory of the Pallavas of Kanchipuram who ruled over the Kaveri Delta. In no time, they asserted their power and were able to replace the Pallavas. Vijayalayas belonged to the ancient chief family of Cholas from the Urayur region in present-day Tamil Nadu. He founded the Chola Empire in the middle of the 9th century and built the town of Thanjavur. Raja Chola and his illustrious son Rajendra I were the most powerful rulers of the Chola dynasty. Rajaraja I ascended the throne in 985 CE. He was a brilliant general who soon acquired control over the territories of the contemporary rulers such as the Pandyas and the Pallavas. Rajendra first succeeded his father Rajaraja Chola somewhere around 1040. He took the Cholas empire to the pinnacle of glory through his military power and administrative skills. He raised Sri Lanka and sent a naval fleet to annex part of Sumatra and Malaya in Southeast Asia. His army marched triumphantly up to the northeastern part of India. To celebrate his victory, he founded a new capital called Gangikonda Cholaspuram. He was given the title Gangikoda Cholas, meaning one who defeated the king of Ganga's plain. Rajendra's most impressive achievement was the conquest of Java, Sumatra, Malayas, along with the Andaman and the Nicobar Island. Students, we discuss how the Cholas empire built and spread by the Rajraja and the Rajendra, the two famous rulers. And now we come how the government and the society and the culture of that time, village administrations, financial administrations, art and culture, and the Cholas temples, because they are very rich in art and culture, and their temple were very famous at that time. So let's read about the government or society and art and culture of the Cholas empire. Paddy cultivation in the areas around the Kaveri deltas witnessed sizable growth of the 5th and the 6th century. Several new methods of irrigation such as building water tanks, digging of wells and ponds were adopted. This kinds of planning was an integral part of village life under the Cholas empire. You know, students, I have already told you that the agriculture is the main revenues sources. Okay, so the Cholas empire was very rich in that way, and they used the advanced irrigations and such things was responsible for their wealthy territories or wealthy state. Okay, and now we discuss about the village administrations. All the powers of administration in a village were given to village assembly called Sabha. It carried out its administrative works through various committees. It had the power to collect and spend the revenues of the village. It undertook work of public utility. The rich peasants of Elias caste exercised great control over the village administrations. Now we come the financial administrations. The main sources of income in the state was land revenue. It was probably 1/6 of the total produce. The other sources of revenue were sale tax, custom duties, water, finance, so on and so on. The income of the state was spent on the kings and his court, salary of officials, the armies, religious institutions, and construction work of the public utility. Okay, so this is their financial administration. Now we come the another important thing, that is the that built the Cholas empire great, and that is their art and culture. Okay, the Cholas period is often termed as a golden age of Tamil art, literature, and culture. The Cholas king developed and preferred the Dravidian Dravidian style of art and architectures. The craft of making bronze statues was the most distinct art from the Cholas period. A good example of this art is the bronze image of Nataraj or the dancing Shiva. Now we come the Cholas temple. Okay, now we discuss the Cholas temples. The greatest of Cholas monuments are the Brihadishwar temple in Thanjavur and the temple of Gandhikoda Cholaspuram, built by the Rajaraja and the Rajendra I respectively. These temples serve as a landmark in the evolution of the Dravidian styles of temple architecture. The temple were not only place of worship but also rich center of culture इंट्रैक्शंस. ओके, सो स्टूडेंट्स, ये जो टेम्पल्स हुआ करते थे, ये जो है वो ना केवल एक वर्शिप की प्लेस होते थे, बल्कि यहाँ पे आर्ट और कल्चर का भी वेल डेवलपमेंट होता था, क्योंकि ये जो टेम्पल था इसके जो अगल बगल की के लैंड्स होते थे वो मतलब डोनेट किए जाते थे, किसके थ्रू? राजा के थ्रू. ठीक है, और यहाँ पे यानी कि टेम्पल के अगल बगल जितने भी आर्ट से रिलेटेड लोग होते थे वो यहाँ पे रहते थे, और वो टेम्पल में रह करके और आर्ट और कल्चर को भी मतलब वो प्रोग्रेस करते थे, बढ़ाते थे. ठीक है ना. तो ये जो इनका जो टेम्पल था चोलाज एम्पायर का, वो ना केवल वर्शिप का प्लेस था बल्कि यहाँ पे कल्चर जैसे सेंट्रल किसका था, कल्चर और दूसरी आर्ट और कल्चर का भी ये एक सेंटर हुआ करता था. सो स्टूडेंट्स, दिस इज़ द ग्रेट चोलाज एम्पायर which was expanded from South India, not only South India but also the Sri Lankas, Maldives and Southeast Asias. So this is the end of our lecture, our topic. Till then, so goodbye.